Clap your hands with me. Clap your hands with me. Clap your hands with me.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Midday Impact. We are so glad that you are here with us. Over these next couple of minutes, we are just going to work to give you some encouragement. Hope you've had a fabulous week so far. Midweek hump day. You all know what it is out here in these streets trying to get it done. So come on in, come on in, come on in. We're excited to see each and every one of you. Yeah, I don't know about you all, but we have been having a fabulous time at FAI. Come on in. Hey there. Hey, Nicole. Good to see you. Come on in. Come on in. We have been having a fabulous time. We are just excited about what God has for us. It's me today. Pastor Dunn is in those ministry streets doing what he does the best. So he won't be with us on today. It'll just be me. And I'll be here just sharing with you all for a few moments, what God has really placed in my spirit. And I just pray that it encourages you as I am encouraging myself. We're going to dive into this. One thing that we've been talking about at FAI over the course of this past month is about better. It's like, feeling this. I don't know about you all, but I feel this in my spirit. I feel it in the atmosphere, like better is coming. It's like, have you ever in the movies where you hear the music and it's just build up and build up and build up. And I just feel that in the atmosphere that's happening right now. We keep talking about better. And on Sunday, Pastor Dunn talked about May, be better, just being better, being ready to walk into the moment that God has for us. And He has something for each and every one of us, something big, something bigger than we can even imagine. But as I've been thinking about this better and being better, and in my quiet time saying, what does this really mean? And one thing what has really stood out to me about being better is that it is a time of real transformation of who we are. It's more about transforming who we are to prepare us for that next step than for us to constantly be doing. And I had to step back and think about being better and what does it really mean to get to that place, to that next place. And what really resonated with me is that it's going to require a transformation of ourselves, a transformation of our identities and how we built our identities and what we built our identities around. And I began to think about that even for myself. One thing I've done over the years, I've really strived to be a good leader. And I spent a lot of time and I spent a lot of effort into understand what it means to be a leader and how to lead effectively so I could get to the next level of leadership, to go to middle management and then to go to senior management and then to go to executive management. I spent a lot of my time and a lot of my effort in becoming a leader. And sometimes when we do that, when we spend our time in becoming something, we could be becoming the strong one. We could be becoming the go-to person. We could become whatever that is. Sometimes we can tie our identity into what we are trying and what we have worked so hard to become. And I don't know about any of you all. You could drop it in the chat if any of you all are similar to me. As I begin to look at my becoming better, a lot of what I was thinking about was tied to my title, was tied to who I was in the corporate world. But there has to become a clear distinction between our title and our identity in Him. For us to get to that better, what He's calling us to is going back to the identity that He has created for us, and not what we have strive so hard to become or to be seen in the eyes of others. And that was just sort of mind blowing to me, because one thing Pastor Dunn said on Sunday, he said, in this next season, in your better season, you're going to be celebrated for who you are and not for what you do. And I was like, y'all, that was mind blowing to me. If anybody is out there, drop that in the chat. You are going to be celebrated for who you are and not what you do. And so many times, like I said, we tie those two things in together. You are identified as the strong one. You are identified as the one that always holds it together. You are the one that is identified as the go to. But that's not what you're going to be celebrated for. And that's not what's going to take you into the better. It's getting back to understanding your true identity in Him. I'm not, God doesn't just see me as a CEO. God doesn't just see me in a leadership role. He sees me as so much more than that. He sees us as so much bigger than that. We're the ones that limit ourselves by a title. We're the ones that limit ourselves in one particular box, in one particular category. And what I heard him say is that in this season, in this better season, you've got to take the limits off of yourself. And I don't know about you all, but as I began to think about that, that was scary for me to think about. Like who I am and all the work that I've done to identify myself as a CEO, to let go of that. That's a scary place because I know what that is. I know what it requires to be that. But for me to let go of that and to lean into something else, it requires another level of vulnerability in Him. And I heard this very clearly, that in this season, to get to better, we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable to Him. To say, God, show me who I am outside of being the strong one. Show me who I am outside of my leadership title. Show me who you have called me to be so that I can fully step in this to embrace my better. And we all know what He's called us to be. He's called us to be above only and not beneath. He's called us to be the head and not the tail. He's called us to be the leader. He's called us to be strong and courageous. That's all that He's calling for in this season, to get us to the better, to let go of that identity that we've so clung to say, God, I'm giving myself to you. And when we give ourselves to Him freely and say, show me who you want me to be outside of the strong one. Show me who you want to be outside of the go to. Show me who you want to be outside of the CEO, outside of the nurse, outside of the mother, outside of the wife. Who, God, do you want me to be in this season? I don't even know, because I've operated so much in this area. So much of my identity is tied up in that. Show me who you are calling me to be in this season, and give me the strength to let go of what I was, of to let go and not to hold so tightly to the title that I possessed, not to hold so tightly to mother. Y'all, I had to learn that the hard way. The title mother, so many times we think when we hear that title mother, that means we've got to be all encompassing to everybody. We got to make everything happen for our children. We got to step out in front and we got to figure it all out. But God said, to me, I got to redefine what mother means in this season of your life. And I just believe that, y'all, for us to get to the better, and we're going to get to the better. We are going to get there. But for us to get there, we've got to let Him redesign who we are in this season. Somebody just dropped that in the chat. He's redesigning me. He's redesigning me to get me to the better. He's redesigning me as I fully give myself to Him, as I fully show my vulnerability to Him to say, my identity has been tied up here. My focus and attention has been over here. But God, I'm bringing my focus and my attention back to you, and I'm laying it down before you. That's all He wants from us, guys. Is for us to be authentically who we are with Him, to stand before Him. I love that show, y'all. Naked and Afraid. Girl, I don't know if y'all ever watch it, but it's the most horrific thing. You go out in the forest and you don't have no clothes on, you with a stranger, you get a fire and one other thing, you out there in the forest. God is saying, come to be naked, afraid, not afraid, whatever, but come fully to me and let me redesign you in this season so that you can get to the better. He wants us to have it, y'all. He wants us to have it. The only limit, the only thing that could ever stop us is our perception of ourselves and the limits that we place on ourselves. I remember that old song is to take the limits off, take the limits off, take the limits off, take the limits off of who you are, how you see yourself, and let God redesign you so that we can get to the better. Yes, Norma, He is doing it. He is redesigning each and every one of us in this season. And I thought about that book. Michelle Obama wrote this book, and it was called Becoming. And you look at her transformation from before, you just look at the pictures from before she was first lady to after she was out of that office and the transformation that happened. This whole season is about this transformation. It's not about a one moment in time. It's not about trying to reach this one thing, but it's about this transformation that is occurring. And I want somebody to just drop in the chat that God is transforming us, that it is happening right now. He is transforming us in who He is calling us to be in this next season. It's not about us doing more. Especially us as women, men, dads, moms, dads, we're always trying to do more, do more, do more with less. You hear that, do more with less, do more, do more. This is not a season about trying to do more. We've done more and exhausted ourselves in trying to do. This is not the season for that. This is a season for us to sit back and relax and say, God, I'm letting you do it. I'm taking every limit off of you. I'm believing you. I'm trusting your word. What you have said is true. Let God be true and every man a lie. What you said is true, and I'm going to believe it. And I'm not going to try to work to make this happen. How many times, y'all, have we tried to work? Well, we try to work and work and work to make something happen, and we've exhausted ourselves. And I love this what Pastor Dunn said too. If it takes all that work to obtain it, it's going to take all that work to maintain it. So sometimes we just have to sit back and say, God, I'm not trying to work this out. And that's a hard place to be. It's a hard place to completely let go and say, you know what? Nope, I'm not doing it this time. I'm not going to try to work this out. I'm going to allow you to work it out. And that is a part of getting to that better, allowing God to do the transforming, allowing God to do the work, allowing Him to set the situation up. He's the one that's gone before us and made every crooked path straight. We can't do it. Even I know we try, we get out there and try and try and try, but this is not the season for that. This is the season for us to sit back and get real with God and real with ourselves to say, I'm going to relax and I'm going to trust in you. I'm going to trust that you're going to do the transformation in me that needs to be done so that I can get to my better. Somebody put it in there in the chat. I'm going to get to my better. I'm going to get to my better. And it's not going to be dependent upon my ability. It's not by might, it's not by power, but it's by his spirit. That's how we get to better. It's not going to be through all this work and all this, I'm trying to rest. No, God, I'm resting in you. I'm resting in the identity that you have created for me. And I'm allowing you to transform me. That's right, Nicole. He is doing the transformation. And the last thing I'm going to say, we're only going to be on here for a little bit today. The last thing I'm going to say is that getting to that better, it requires your authentic presence. It's not about performance. And it is so hard, y'all. It's so hard for us not to want to perform, for us not to lean into the strengths that we have. It's not about that in this season. It's about being authentically who we are and allowing God to authentically use us, to be sensitive to what He's saying in this season. What does He need for us to do? Who does He need us to reach out to? Where does He want us to go? Really being authentic. And when you're authentic, your light shines through so much brighter than a made up moment, than trying to make something happen. When we allow ourselves to relax in Him, it's hard to do it because you have to be authentic. You have to let your real true self show through, and that requires vulnerability. And it's hard to be vulnerable in front of people, but He's calling us to be vulnerable in this season, because when we are vulnerable, then that allows those around us to be vulnerable. Then they can see, oh, everybody has issues. You know that you hear that, oh, nobody's going through it, I'm going through it. Oh, you hear all this madness in your head. But when you're authentic and you're able to say, you know what, I'm struggling, and this is what God is saying to me, then that allows other people to be authentic too. And that's when real breakthrough comes. That's when real change comes, is when we're authentic and we allow His light to shine through us. That is how we get to better. That's right. That's how we get to better. So I'm going to tell you the four things that we talked about today, and then we're going to get on out y'all's way. But the four things, as we think about better, being transformed, going to our next level. This is the first one. My identity is in Him and not in my current assignment. It's not in being CEO. It's not in being mom. It's not in being the strong one. That's not my identity. My identity is in who God says I am. And He says, I'm above only and not beneath. I am the head and I'm not the tail. That's number one to getting better, having our identity in Him and not in our assignment. Number two, to get to better requires vulnerability. God, I don't know how to even let go of being the strong one. I don't even know how to step out of just being a leader. I don't know how, God. But all He requires is for you to say that to Him. And when we say it to Him, then He'll show us how to do it. He'll give us the strength how to those things go so that we can step into our next phase of better. And remember, this is key. This is key. Our identity is not tied to who or the things that we've done, but it has to be tied to Him. That's what makes the difference. That's what opens up the door for us to move to better. Not limiting ourselves to just this one or two things that we see we are, but opening ourselves up widely to all the possibilities that God says we are. That is our step to better. Number three, better means becoming in the process. Better means becoming throughout this process. It's a process to get to better. And I'm letting go of that old and I'm pressing into the new. And as we're doing that, as we're letting go, as we're letting go of the ashes and we're grabbing hold of the beauty, then we're able to step into that better through our transformation. And our last point on today about moving into better is being our authentic selves. That's all God wants for us, is to be authentically who He created us to be. He said we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And my soul knows that. We know that internally, but because so many times we will defer to what the world says, we'll listen to what the world says, and we'll shrink back because sometimes our personality can seem to be too big. But God is saying, not so. I created your big personality. Let it shine forth, and it's going to attract the people it's going to supposed to attract. Everybody's not going to like you. We got to let that go. Everybody's not going to like you, but it's going to attract you being authentic. It's going to attract the people that you're supposed to attract, that need you. People need you. They need the authentic version of you that's going to help them to be their authentic selves so our lights can shine, so we all can be who God has called us to be. So again, this was just a quick midday impact just to give you a little whoop of inspiration. Remember, guys, this is our season of better. He is preparing us. What eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, neither has it entered the heart of man. What God has prepared for us. We have to allow ourselves to come out of the boxes that we place ourselves in and raise our hand and say, God, I'm going to be vulnerable before you so you can get me to my better, not just for me. We're striving for better, not just for us, but for our children, for our communities, for our church, for our nation. Think about when we all are operating in our better, when we're all operating in our authentic selves that He's called us to be and He's equipping us, how much better our families, our cities, our nation will be. That's where we're going, y'all. That's what God is calling us to in this season of better, to be our authentic self so He can use us as never before. All right, guys, I hope you all enjoyed it. We will have our tonight, 7 o'clock, same platform. We'll be back here for midday, not midday, but for Bible study. We will see you tonight. We love you guys. We hope you're encouraged. Hey, know that this is your season of better. See you soon.